I didn't understand Slovenian very much, so I have to introduce myself also a little bit, or not. Anyway, I come from Tartu, from Estonian Literary Museum, working as a senior researcher there. My main interest has been mostly short forms of folklore, as Sasha's interest also, and we have very good cooperation with Sasha, and I hope very much that after today's presentation we will cooperate much more with the Slovenian side, and we will organize together maybe such a project about connected with children and children lore. So my paper today has different aims, but firstly I will give a short overview of the history of collecting of school lore. It will be very short. In Estonia since 1920s, so through the 100 years. And secondly, I will describe deeper the collecting campaigns done in Estonia in Estonia Literary Museum by folklorists in recent 30 years. And thirdly, after that, I would like to invite you also as a partner to collaborate with one ongoing project we have collecting. We have at the moment in our institution. And collecting the children lore in Estonian actually started already in 1920s, when our first professor of folkloristics, Walter Anderson, started collected children's songs, and he collected very big amount of folklore, children lore and songs, rhymes, different countings of children and popular songs, approximately 60,000 pages in our archives. And here is one song which is internationally also famous, and was collected that time, was also very famous, and since today we can find this in children repertoire. And here you can see couple of sheets of this Anderson's collection of children's songs from 1923, and here the first piece is you can recognize German language. It influenced very much our culture and German culture. And here you can see one counting rhyme of children, 1, 2, 3, and then it goes to Estonian, 1, 2, 3, yeah? And the other pieces are in Estonian. And in 1930s, Estonian Folklore Archives started to collect children's fairs, also information of the beings by whom adults frighten children. It gave again very good material. In 1934, for example, Estonian Folklore Archives again started to collect children's games, different playing situations. And these questionnaires were compiled by folklorist Richard Viidalepp, who also collected games during the Soviet times. And some occasional such kind collecting events were also provided and done during the Soviet time, of course. But what is very significant, it is cooperation with Finnish colleagues who already in 70s, in 80s, very clearly started to write about children's lore, to collect children's and youth lore, and also published books. And also during the Soviet time, of course, the Soviet children, Russian children's lore experts and folklorists were such important researchers who gave a figure for Estonian folklorists. And but bigger campaigns of collecting school lore are start in 1992. It was a joint campaign of collecting school lore. Estonia already was independent again. We had very, very good contacts after that with Finnish colleagues. And together with Finnish colleagues, we organized such kind of joint campaign of collecting school lore in Estonia and Finland, and which resulted in over 22,000 pages of diverse and valuable school lore from the total of 1,797 respondents, and from 26 schools. For that time, it was quite a good result, because most of answers were written handwritten. And in Finland at that time were collected 3,000, almost 4,000 pages from 2,200 respondents. So, of course, Finland is bigger from population also as Estonia, and it echoes also in these numbers. And what school children wrote? The questionnaire included 9 different topics. First was anecdotes, different jokes. Second, riddles, joking questions. Third was proverbs, sayings, fears and legends, songs, and what was very popular, different song parodies among children, among school children, also very valuable material, several predictions, beliefs, also diary lore. They sent their albums which they had in handwritten way, also different notebooks, also were collected traditions of different festivities, customs, holidays, and also games and information about playing situations. And after this big campaign, some such kind of research collections, books were published about this collection. For example, this green book about contemporary folklore. It was one of first good research collections about contemporary folklore at all in Estonia. So I must say that such kind collecting and also researching, analyzing this contemporary folklore in Estonia started also together very lively with this school lore collection campaigns. Until that time, more interest covered these old genres and classical folklore. What covers the term school lore at all? When we talk about school lore, then we don't speak about only folklore in school environment. We take it much more wider. This is not always associated with school, but represents the contemporary traditions of children and youth of school age. So they describe also, for example, tradition they might have at home, or how they spend their free time, not only in school but also different musical schools, different hobby groups. But I must say also, now 30 years later, we can say that 1992 was very important because it was last time to collect also Soviet humor and jokes, for example, or such kind of different genres which were very alive in Soviet time, but unfortunately because of censorship they were forbidden to collect in archives. And in 1992 this was this material very well characterized of this Soviet period and its society of limited freedom of speech. And this folklore, of course, started to lose audience and circulation very quickly after that collecting. For example, here are popular abbreviation folklore. It was a very common tradition in colloquial language, in everyday language, to make humor with interpreting known abbreviation in such kind of joking way, for example. And we can say that nowadays no one of children and school children, they don't know, of course, this material. Among this material were very popular, for example, cycles of internationally popular absurd elephant questions. They were very largely represented during this collecting and among this material. And again, from earlier times, we didn't have such a material. And also we got also a lot of jokes about different ethnic groups, again, which were very alive in oral tradition. For example, Chukchi, which have disappeared for today, of course. And I must say also that time jokes were about Russians, also about blacks, about Chinese. And as later collectings saw us about Russians, we also, Russians are not a topic anymore in Estonian youth lore, we can say. And in basic of this collecting after 1992. Also different databases are compiled. For example, I compiled databases of different subgenres of contemporary riddles, joking questions, for example, Estonian conundrums, Estonian abbreviation riddles, and Estonian doodles. And I don't know actually, do we have here internet access?
Yes, there is.
Uh-huh. Okay, we can access it later maybe. This Estonian doodles is translated also in English, Eesti piltmõistatused. And I must say that altogether we have 8,000 doodles in this database, and it is very significant that 6,500 comes from this 1992 collecting. So again, new genres came, and here is also one card, such kind publication about Estonian doodles in English, which is compiled in basis of the school law 1992 mostly. And also 1992 was very important because of it gave us lots of such kind Soviet time handwritten albums, notebooks, different. People spread this oral tradition also in written way in such kind manuscripts, and it was very, very valuable material also for us. And for example, my colleague Eda Kalmre is a very good specialist of these albums and notebooks at the moment also. Lots of research has done in this material. And then 15 years later, in 2007, we decided to start with a new project, and to collect school lore in Estonian schools was again launched. And for that time, we had already computers and computer era. So it was totally differently already methodologically organized. And we had quite similar questionnaire, but we adapted. We took this 1992 collecting campaigns questionnaire and adapted for 2007. And altogether 2,800 school children from 71 schools from grades 4 up 12 answered the questionnaire, and the collection resulted in 15,600 pages of material. And children could send their responses by email, and also to fulfill the questionnaire in online already at that time. And we had 6 topics: leisure, time and friends, secondly jokes, again fears, beliefs, prophecies, computer and television, which was absolutely new topic, and also holidays and festivities and games. And we repeated this also the same collecting campaign 2 years later in Russian schools in 2009, because of we have quite a big Russian minority in Estonia, and it was a nice comparison. And before this project, the pilot project was tested also in 4 schools. Of course, today I describe only these collecting campaigns in which we use such kind of questionnaire style. But sometimes we are interviewing and we are going in field works also in schools. For example, this contributed material, this we got from a pilot project was analyzed also in the seminar of our department, and after that we repaired a little bit this questionnaire, and only then we started with big collecting campaign all over Estonia. And what we got again, the first topic was such kind of introductory topic. We haven't collected earlier time such kind contextual information of school children. We were interested in their leisure, how they spend their leisure time, how much they spend it with friends, what kind of music they are listening, what hobbies. We also, for example, were interested in different nicknames. And what was also important in this questionnaire, our researchers could say also their interests. This questionnaire was done with interests researcher that after that where this material also analyzed. And also we asked nicknames of teachers, which is now we can say it's very sensitive material, because sometimes it is not very polite material also, but yeah, here will be another topics how to research it ethically and different things. Also, we asked about the role models of children. It was very interesting that they said that their parents are very, very oftenly their role models, not only pop singers and good sportsmen, for example. We asked about pets, because in urban life pets are much more and much more companions of children, and also about hobbies. And what was interesting in jokes topic, the absolutely new figure in these jokes, the blonde came. Blonde jokes, they started to circulate in second part of 90s, and until today they are quite popular among children. And of course Little Johnny and Estonian Juku was popular in these jokes. And also we got jokes of three nations. I think in Slovenia also they are known. And as I told, probably a third of joking questions were about blondes, and it might that time it might be such a protest against the beauty ideals, and also against it was a wish to compensate maybe for the disappearance of gender roles in a society striving for equality of men and women. And here are also most popular blonde jokes in this school lore collection in 2007. We just can compare with your material. I know that Sasha has done one research also in this blonde jokes topic in Slovenian material and compared this. So third topic was fears and about fears and beliefs and prophecies. And then we saw very strong influences from mass media. It was visible in vocabulary, in different cultural loans, heterogeneity of narrative motifs and belief elements, and also we could see how media created the fears, but also gave a protective mechanisms. For example, the fairy tale rhetorics, good is stronger than bad, or child as active solution seeker. And what were main fears among children? Fear of death, fear of otherness, fear of unexpectedness, fear of separation, and also fear of bugs or spiders. It was also written as. And as I already told, media was very strongly influenced these fears and beliefs, and very often respondents described fears, beliefs, and horror dreams related to characters that they had seen in television. They named different non-age appropriate horror or action series. So this material might be of an interest also for interdisciplinary research, for psychologists, and it is worth to analyze it in very different aspects. And this children horror stories might be told for entertainment and for the thrill that narrators get from the experience of fear and excitement connected with them, and also serious beliefs. And again, here is one description of boy about dark corridors and darkness. Sometimes this fear or such kind of supernatural occurrences can be also such kind of group traditions can be a joint experiences in children collectives. Sometimes they described how they have ghosts in their schools, for example, and also they described a humorous way. For example, here is one comical strip about ghost in school environment. Such kind inside lore. And what was different compared to 1992, in 2007 we also asked about children's and computers and televisions. We didn't have at that time yet smartphones, which are already now are very visible, but that time 2 to 4 hours children spent in the computer and TV, and they described also different games what they played in computers. But unfortunately this topic is not analyzed until today because we don't have a specialist in computer games among the folklorists. So it is waiting for futures. And also about different traditions and different holidays and festivities. It might be very common Estonian traditions, for example, St. Martin's Day, when children masking themselves and running from door to door and singing songs and telling jokes, and then receive sweets or even money in nowadays. And also St. Catherine's Day is quite similar. And also Christmas times, how they spend Christmas with their parents, or different days. And also such kind of special days. For example, in schools, lots of such kind of traditions are organized. And here, for example, in one school in Pürksi, where they have Swedish language classes, they celebrate also St. Lucia's Day, which is not common in Estonia at all, but the influence comes together with this Swedish language classes and Scandinavian cultural learning and teaching. And also games, different what were very popular running games, for example, which were usually played most enthusiastically by preschool and primary school children. Different chasing games, most popular in Estonian. Kull, I am sure that you have this in Slovenian also, which has lots of different subforms, different jumping games, hopping games. They still alive. Also different fantasy games, and already such kind ready games, Twister, 5 seconds, Uno, which you can buy, which is already made, and which are also available in online way. And also new playgrounds, for example, trampoline in Estonia, I think somewhere 15 years maybe old only. And how children invent their own new games. For example, it's very popular lawn mower. One child is jumping and other children try to push him down, or new popular toys in children's playing Lego, Barbie, or pet shops, and it is very interesting that Barbie in Estonia, Barbie was born in 60s, but in Estonia it started again to be popular only in 90s, and since today is quite popular. And here is one picture which characterizes our winners of this Cool Lore collecting campaign 2007. We organized such a celebration where best writers and best dancers were honored. We had lots of supporters. Also, I remember that the most valuable prizes were computers and also photo cameras, which came from supporters that time. And in 2007, it was a very big thing also for children. And what is very good, some of these winners, they also went to study folkloristics to Tartu University. So maybe this campaign also influenced their later choices. And here is also with a cake with a special School Lore logo. And logo you can see elephant in refrigerator, comes from children's jokes. So a couple of words I would like to say about also one ongoing project. In every year we have such kind of training seminars of Estonian language for nursery school teachers, and they are financed. This project financed by Ministry of Education and Science. And I am an organizer by Estonian Literary Museum of this project. And in 2010, when we started, at once we organized also all Estonian competition for nursery school or collection. And of course, then we asked teachers about children lore. We didn't interview it in kindergarten environment, but again used a questionnaire. And approximately 80 nursery school teachers and educators from all over Estonia provided answers to the open-ended questions and of the detailed questionnaire. And we got 67 submitted contributions, which included 62 individual answers and 5 ones created by teamwork also. And almost all Estonian countries were covered. And we expected answers within 3 topics here about festivities and parties, because we know because they are very keen to organize different folk calendars, events in kindergartens, also about games, because playing and games are the most important work of this environment, and about also stories and children's sayings. And our interest was to find out how tradition is used in nursery school programmed activities. And also we recommended that the teachers observe children in order to learn more about their own lore. And again, very, very different kind of material we got. Very, very rich descriptions about different traditional calendar events. Again, St. Catherine's Day, St. Martin's Day, All Souls Day, or Christmas and Shrove Tuesday, Easter, and also about birthdays and the mother language days, and very, very rich is such a kindergarten calendar. And about playing also, when school children use for game for playing more smartphones or computers today, then at nursery school was very attractive that the games. These games which were in real world, and different role plays and also how TV shows influence children's real life plays in kindergarten. It was interesting. And also we were interested in different stories and sayings and proverbs in one side, what teachers use, and also what children are speaking. For example, it was very interesting statistics about most popular proverbs that are used by nursery school teachers. And so they are very didactic, and you can see how they already teach stereotypes very, very strongly. And another side, it was very interesting, humorous material about 1,000 of children's remarks, which were collected by teachers. They were written by teachers. And in written culture, it is also common that in families, family members, mothers, fathers, are writing down children's different funny sayings. But in this case, it was kindergarten material. And I have also written an article about this topic, about these original creations of children and different point of views to this topic. For example, here are some examples how children could name every dog as a Rex because of this popular series of Inspector Rex. Yeah, and they have their own logic, and how this phenomena is a special humor phenomena, but humorous it is, of course, for adults, not for children themselves, because they are speaking serious things. Yeah, and now I'm going to speak about school law 2017, 2018. In 24th of February, when Estonia celebrated 100 year of anniversary from independence from first state. We organized a new collecting school or collecting campaign in Estonia, and you can see here advertising meme where is used of a parody of very well-known quotation from popular Estonian children movie Kevade Spring, and it was made by gymnasium school children extra for school law campaign, because among organizers are also children of one Tartus gymnasium to get better access to school children. We used also gymnasium children that they themselves are in this organizational process. And the project aims are again to observe the development of contemporary socio-cultural processes of the basis of law repertoire of Estonian school children. And the project comprises a common campaign of collecting law material in schools in Estonia, and will result in a publication of research results in a collection of articles. And we got support for this project also from, as we know, this year is declared a year of European cultural heritage, and a special interest is within this project this year children and youth. So it was very good possibility to get support from this foundation. And we have also a patron of this action in this year, which is one famous Estonian children's writer, Mika Keränen. What is interesting, he is Finnish by his nationality, and he writes in Estonian different children criminal stories, which are very popular. And what is also very important, he has been very near to folklore and folkloristics also. He studied Estonian philology at the University of Tartu, and also folklore. And in 2007, we also, within this 15 years ago project, tried to organize this questionnaire in Finland, in Estonian community, in Estonian classes, together with Mika Keränen. So it is a very good to promote this project through this popular face to children. And again, in 2017, the pilot project was provided from October to December. And during this project, 233 school children answered the questionnaire. And also questionnaire is in Russian, so some of them also were Russian-speaking children. And here you can see our aims and how much was pilot project done, and in March 2018. Yeah, I don't have map for today to describe today's situation. But 2,500 is quite a big amount. And again, we have homepage, and this time we are organized so that people can fulfill questionnaire only in online, but they are asked to send memes, internet memes, which we can't collect by this questionnaire, to send to email also. And the topics are leisure time and friends, jokes, again, fears, beliefs and prophecies, holidays and festivities, and games. And we left out topic computer and television this time because we think that it must be separately collected later, or this is worth to do separate collecting. And the main organizers, the head of the project is Reet Hiiemäe, and you can see here one familiar face also, Mare Kõiva, who is very supportive to this project, and also our young colleagues, Karl Jaago and Anne Ostrak, who are responsible for this technical side, and writing emails to find supporters, and also making such kind different technical things for advertising, for example. And here is the statistics of 3 school or collecting. So for 1st of May, when we have 3 weeks for this collecting campaign, we have already 2,600 school children who have answered the questionnaire, and 105 from 105 schools, which is also already record. And from grades 4 to grade 12, it is organized. And here are some, as my interest is related also with short forms of folklore and different joking questions. So during the pilot project, we got already some new text or new joking questions from children. You can read them. And again, we already know that 27th of September will be a special event when the best school children and teachers will be honored with prizes. We can do this. We can organize this event without help of teachers, because sometimes they fulfill their questionnaires during their classes, which is very nice also. And here you can see also some supporters of we have already for this September event. And we have a different ideas how to attract young people, and here also I want to show one such kind of attractive application for collecting graffiti, because one of my research interests have been also graffiti, as we had one Polish-Estonian joint project, and it resulted with a database of 600 graffiti photos and graffiti texts, mostly from Estonia, but also from abroad. And now we are thinking, and in the one student is working about the application for collecting graffiti. So people can can photograph the graffiti in different places and to send it at once to our institution, and we can add to database it also. And so, to conclude my topic, why is collecting school lore important at all? I think, first of all, to make visible the voice of or viewpoint of children in folklore studies, to make folklore as a subject more attractive to younger generations, and to show the lore as an alive phenomena, because until today in Estonia it is unfortunately it is a stereotype that folklore, it is something grey and old, and they don't see themselves as carriers of folklore. And of course, to get contemporary material for research, to document the situation for comparative research, and also for interdisciplinary analysis. As I showed, for example, sometimes it is excellent material for linguists, for psychologists, for very different areas. And through the children's writings, we can see also changes in children's and youth folklore world and attitudes, and also such kind big dynamic changes in the society have brought in new folklore forms and actions. And this material refers also to traditions, to older features, and also innovations, the global and regional phenomena. So, and thanks to Sasha, we have this questionnaire also in Slovenian language. So I suggest that we can now go forward with questions and with discussions, and what do you think about organizing the same campaign in Slovenia also? As Sasha already told, in Slovenian questionnaire you can adapt in your own way. Yeah, thank you.